Hi. We were talking about how important it is to have some conversations that are quite essential to having a functional, thriving marriage, and the importance of having these talks before getting married. So we decided we're going to make a little series called Premarriage Talks. Yeah.
My turn? Yeah? Okay, perfect. Thank you for the introduction. That was wonderful. Yeah, so just to kind of continue with that idea, there are red flags. There are things that are actual real incompatibilities, and there's also things that you don't want to kind of spring as surprises to your spouse or your significant other. If you're getting into a long-term partnership, it doesn't have to be a marriage, but it could be, a long-term commitment. And these are chats that they're really helpful. And I've seen so many relationships or even between us where it's like, I really would have loved to have known that before we did da-da-da-da-da-da. And so what we're setting up is it's like a checklist. It's like a guide for a couple of conversations. We're going to do 4 videos that you should have with each other before you take the next step.
It kind of enables both parties to be authentic about who they are, what they want, what they're looking for, and not having to settle, then my partner wants this and I just have to compromise. I mean, some things, yes, it's inevitable, but some other things might turn out that they're super essential for you and there's an incompatibility and it's just, I mean, I love you, but I'm sorry, this is just too important for me. So that's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah, the ideal scenario is 2 independent people who feel very fulfilled, satisfied, and expressed. And if there is going to be a sacrifice, or someone says, okay, I have to sacrifice this for 5 years so that we can do this together as a team, it's on the table. So stuff isn't oh, you're going to have to do this for me, or I'm going to have to do this for you, and I never even thought about this. It's, okay, well, how do we want to... So the idea is a common vision. And how do you build a common vision? And when you're both on the same page in the common vision, there aren't surprises, and everybody's aware of what their position is in it. So we should get to the video. So there's 4 of them. The first video is kids and career. These are really big markers, deal breakers, game changers, and also it can be really wonderful if you've thought it out and spoken about it. So kind of the basics of, do you want to have kids together? How many kids would you want to have? What age do you want to have these kids at? What career path do you want to follow? And what do you see it as 1 year down the line, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line? What do you have to do to get the career and the life in that you want to achieve? And what are you willing to sacrifice for it? What aren't you willing to sacrifice for it? What does all that entail so that both of you have the map of each of your lives and you start making one together?
Right. The second idea that we had that's really relevant, according to us, is the financial stuff, the money stuff. How much money would you like to have in your life? What are you willing to do for that money? Or if you want to live a really, say, humble life without much luxury or anything, are you both guys in agreement? What does that look like? And just... our lifestyle is so impacted by the resources that we have, the financial resources, among others. So this is a pretty key point, What's our individual relationship to money? How do we see our life in the future regarding that? And how as a couple do we want to navigate that, Because also financial stress is real and it's very taxing on couples. So having a conversation beforehand can really help navigate it with less confusion and more solidarity when harder times come.
Yeah, and what lifestyle do you want, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the third video is, it's a little bit more kind of, it's a little more boring, but it's like the rules of the house, right?
Chores.
So yeah, as Sarah mentioned to me before we did the video, there's 1,376,426 chores to do inside of marriage, inside a functioning team. Like, you know, who's gonna be in charge of things like when there's a plumbing problem, there's an electrical problem, there's, I don't know, the paint's coming off the walls,
the dishes, the garbage.
Right. Who's gonna, if you have kids, who's gonna change the diapers, or you know, and also like it doesn't have to be like it's the delegation of the chores, but you can have shared things. So like, I don't know, we share the diapers, but I make the meals. Who does the dishes? Who does the laundry? Who does the finances, who does the purchases, who goes to the supermarket, who does the books, so that you know, whatever investments you have, or seeing where your income's coming in, how you have to handle your money, you know, your money management. Like I said, home repairs. Also with like kids with school, who's going to be driving the kids to school, who's going to be taking kids to extracurricular stuff.
Being in charge of different areas of your life. So like each of the partners have to carry their own weight in relation to this, you know, like it avoids one person having to make endless lists about what's to do with the kids and the house and the car, and you know, so each one has their own share of responsibility, and it's the responsibility and the weight that comes with it is like better distributed between the two. It's
equitable, right? So it's like, so you set it up that you know, because very often in relationships you have people who are like, I feel like I'm doing everything, and maybe they are, you know, because there was never a conversation like, hey, I'm signing on for this and this, but I need you to do your share. And if you're doing this, I don't know, I'm staying home and I'm taking care of the kids every Tuesday and Thursday because you're going out and you're following your career and you're working for 9 hours on those days. And then, I don't know, one of the ones that we have, excuse me, to do an example is very often whoever cooks, the other person cleans the dishes. Because especially once you have a bigger family, there's a lot of dishes. And it's a big thing. And then the last one?
Yeah, the last one is like, do you guys really know each other? You know, is there like, what deep stuff is there in your respective lives? You know, like, what's your attachment style? Like, have you ever looked into that? Do you know what your love language is? You know, like, do you like gifts or acts of service? Is there any ex-partner that might be relevant for whatever reason? Is there debt? Is there an addiction? You know, like...
Sexual preferences.
Right. Like really trying to come clean, like having the enough self-love and self-respect to come clean with your partner, so that if they don't really like what they see, well then, like, you know, thank you, we're not meant for each other. And if they do like it, then it's just like this weight off that you don't have to pretend anything, you know, and you can be yourself. You have your struggles, you have your awesome stuff, and just like go from there, you know, without having to fake anything. So this is really deep, you know, it could be truly uncomfortable because we all have skeletons, we all have like our inner monsters, but the more understanding and compassionate your partner shows you, the more vulnerable you can be, and therefore the stronger the bond will be between you guys, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, like the closer you are to being the person you want to be in your life in general, but in your relationship, and your ability to freely be that person, the happier you're going to be, and the happier the relationship's going to be. And ideally, both of you want this. And so it's like sitting down, this is who I am, this is what I bring to the table, all my good stuff, all my bad stuff, and this is who you are, and let's make a project together, right?
Right, yes, if we want to, you know, if it seems like it could work, and I'm attracted to this feels good, or on the contrary, once you have the conversation, there might be like some vital incompatibilities or like some red flags that come along, or, you know.
And you should be happy if you see them before you make a step that makes you much more committed to each other. So this is our prep. This is our gift to soon-to-be long-term couples.
Yeah, so we hope you enjoy the coming videos, and we'll make our best to be clear and to offer you something like valuable and useful.